So the audio has been recording pretty clearly, I think so, and it should. So this is our little new setup. So first, the tripod was this camera. This the camera which you are able to see from the upper view. Maybe it is lagging a little, but I think it's better and more clearer than before. So I think I improved from last time. And today was my back and bicep. I need to work a lot on my lats. Like I have like TB lats, and that I am not satisfied. Like in my 1.5 years of training, I like just have those decent lats. So I just need better lats. So today is our last session of this book. I should have read like from the starting from chapter one. The chapter one was like what was it? Chapter one was the dangerous deed. Yes, sir. It was the dangerous deed, and yes, everything is in focus. We need to make everything in focus, right? Picasso, it's Picasso. It's not too clear, but it's sufficient enough. So today is our last chapter. Last chapter, which is the 5M club members becomes the heroes of their lives. So we have read chapter number 14, 15, and 16 on this YouTube channel. On chapter number 14 and 15, that was just like I forgot to turn on the mic, but I just wanted to record that. Yes, I read it. As of now, I am not wasting too much of my time, and I'm also investing some of my time reading. So let's read the chapter number 17. The 5M club members becomes the heroes of their lives. This setup is a little uncomfortable, but we will have fun. Tripod must not shake, man. 299. We today have around 14 pages to go. Only 14 pages, and we will try to finish it around an hour. It should be finished. It would be so much fun. इतनी सारी बुक पढ़ ली, बस लास्ट के कुछ पेजेस बाकी है. Feels so much better. Can you see my forearm pump here? Little bit. थोड़ा सा दिख रहा है, पर इसके अंदर कैमरा एंगल बहुत ऐसे खराब आ रहा है. But that's okay. The 5M club members become the heroes of their lives. Okay, so it's clear, but not too clear, but sufficient enough so you can read if you watch it in 1080p, right? And I need to get a proper hairstyle for me, right? Yes, so let's start reading. I think something's missing. I wanted to share something, but currently I don't have anything. So let's just start it. We also added this timer, so we'll use it. We will try to read around 1 hour. So let's go. 5, 6, 5, 6, 7, go. The timer hasn't started. Why? It is started successfully, so now let's start reading. The 5M club members become the heroes of their lives. Live like a hero, that's what the classics teaches. Be a main character. Otherwise, what is life worth for? JM quote his, quote is, quote Z. The helipad in Cape Town, South Africa is on the V&A waterfront. A place of tourists ride the Cape Wheel yacht racers. They replace their supplies for courage, feed adrenaline-fueled ocean contests. Fishing characters may be booked, and strong morning coffees can be found. Yes, I wanted to share that now. The character Stone Relay, or the instructor of the artist and the entrepreneur, is feeling sick. But like he is having cups of blood, but they just kind of noticed it and just didn't took any action on it. I think in this chapter he might die, or this might be a lesson where like they teach us that some things you have to leave behind, and maybe the Stone Relay character dies, or maybe he get diagnosed by cancer or something like that. Let's see this chapter how it goes. Like the bubbly brunette with library glasses made sure the liability waivers were signed by the billionaire, the entrepreneur, and the artist. She then stood on on a leather sofa, made notes on her checklist, and provided her three VIP clients with the safety briefing that were mandatory before the helicopter whisked them to Robben Island. It's clear, but frame और बेहतर हो सकता था, I think. But अभी के लिए continue करते हैं. As you know, Robben Island, a barren, not so huge, shark-surrounded, ominous-looking parcel of land sitting not so far from the coast of Cape Town, is where Nelson Mandela was confined to an enormously tiny prison cell for 18 years of the 27 years he was imprisoned. Over the time, this great hero of the world was attacked, abused, and otherwise mistreated, and yet he replied to this bad behavior with olive branches, seeing the good in his captors and for guarding his hope for because the weather Robben Island has been closed to the public. He carefully forced. The ferries have all stopped running. No vessel can come to port area. Here are no helicopters. Are here are no helicopters are allowed to land. You should have known about this. You should not be here. The officer emphasized, adding, "Who are you people?" The guard did remain professional at all times, but he was visibly surprised and obviously mildly shaken, perhaps imagining that the occupants of the aircraft had planned some kind of great ground assault, and thinking the unexpected visitor and illicit intentions. All is good here, the pilot said with a firmness and confidence not often seen. He was now standing outside the helicopter and began to walk slowly toward him. The man in the truck, first adjusting his shirt, then arranging his helmet, kept which he kept on. The pilot was not young. You could detect this from the way he walked. The pilot was not young. You could detect this from the way he walked. This is a pretty day. This is a special day for him, remarked the pilot, his voice getting louder. These people have came a long way to see the prison cell where Nelson Mandela was jailed. They have come to view the limestone quarry where he was forced to hack away at stones over a decade in the tortuous sun that reflected off the rock to the point where it damaged his eyesight permanently. They want to view the courtyard where the statesman would exercise and throw tennis balls with confidential messages inside to his fellow political prisoners in the next cell block. They need to go to the spot where Nelson Mandela's manuscript for Long Walk to Freedom, his autobiography, would be secretly buried in the dirt after he had spent many hours working on it. They need to experience at least a little the suffering Mr. Mandela endured over his 18 grueling years here. And they must learn about how, even though he was so viciously treated, a theft of many of the best years of his life, when he was once he was released, he chose to forgive all those who had been so cruel to him. The pilot stopped in the front of the pickup truck. These people want to be genuine heroes themselves, by here in their professional and in their private lives. They wish to be leaders of their productivity icons in full-on expression of mastery and perhaps even path blazes in the fulfillment of a better humanity. Our world has never been so in need of pure heroes as it is today. And as I always teach you, I present from the platform. Why wait for them when you have to have it in you to become one of them? Why wait for them when you have it in you to become one of them? Wouldn't you agree, Stone? Asked the pilot, turning to speak to the billionaire whose mouth is instantly fell completely open. The pilot then ever so greenerly, ginerly, gingerly, almost in slow motion, took off his face guard. Next, he shed his sunglasses and finally he removed his helmet. The billionaire, the entrepreneur, and the artist were astonished by what they saw. It was the spellbinder. ये क्या करते हैं, आवाज से पहचान नहीं पाते क्या? एक बार तो ये खुद अपना बिलियनियर बिलियनियर भी एक ऐसे उसका कुछ तो इनको लेके जा रहा था, वो आर्टिस्ट और क्या बोलते हैं एंटरप्रेन्योर को, और ये आर्टिस्ट और एंटरप्रेन्योर पहचान नहीं पाए कि अपना ये बिलियनियर अपना प्लेन उड़ा रहा है, और अभी ये तीनों पहचान नहीं पाए कि भाई अपना स्पेल बाइंडर जो है वो प्लेन चला रहा है। मतलब खुद की आवाज से पहचान क्यों नहीं पा रहे हैं? Sterile and calculating fluorescent lighting kept the prison on Robben Island on hauntingly eerie, even during the daytime, and feeling frugal, brutal, and unsparing. A set of visible hands seemed to be guiding the members of the Fam Club on the fantastic South African morning, because by some precious symphony of synchronicity, the billionaire would call it the magic. The security guard who had reached up in the dusky pickup truck was a huge follower of the Spellbinders, and I am your number one fan, kind of fan. He loved the Spellbinders work so much. And so, you won't believe this, but it really did happen. The head of the housekeeping, after receiving a green light from the guard, started the tour bus that was out of commission. That was because of the bad weather, and drove it to where the visitors stood. She also asked one of the few guides still on the island to raise the flag and open the prison for a totally private tour, just for the billionaire, the entrepreneur, the artist, and the spellbinder. In every life, especially the hardest one, doorways of possibilities and gateways into the miraculous swings open, revealing the reality that everything that each one of us experiences is part of some intelligent, and yes, often illogical plan. Plan meet plan meant to draw us nearer to our greatest powers, most wonderful circumstances, and highest good. Everything we go through as we travel through life through a life is, in truth, fantastic orchestration designed to introduce us to the truest talents, connect us to the most shown self, and deepen our intimacy with the glory heroes that lives inside each of us. Yes, within every single one of us, and that does mean you. The tour guide who also appeared happened to be a former political prisoner, was a large man with a gruff voice. As he led his guests toward the cell where Nelson Mandela was forced to leave for so many long and harsh years, he answered each of the question they asked. Did you know Nelson Mandela? Quiet the spellbinder thoughtfully. Yes, I served with him for 8 years here on Robben Island. What was he like as a person? Asked the artist, appearing overwhelmed by the emotions that he was feeling as they walked down the main corridor of the jail that had just been home to so many Arrow atrocities during the apartheid apartheid era. Oh, said the guide gently with a gracious and even gracious. Oh, said the guide gently with a gracious and even wise smile across his face. That man was a humble servant. And what was Nelson Mandela like as a leader? Pressed the entrepreneur. Tremendous, dignified, inspirational by the way he handled himself and all he went through. Every time he met one of his fellow leaders, often it was here in this courtyard, commented the guide as he stepped into the area where the political prisoners would talk, walk, plan, and stand. He would ask, "Are you learning?" Here often say, "Each one teach one." Oh ho, each one teach one. In this way, mentoring his associates on the importance of sharing their daily learning to increase the leadership capability of all those around them. Mr. Mandela understood that education is ultimate highway into freedom. That man was treated so poorly. All those hours of back-breaking work in limestone quarry, all the degradation and humiliation. A few years after he came here, he was ordered to dig a grave in the prison yard and then to lie in it. The tour guide added, he must have thought that was the end, reflected the billionaire softly, probably. replied the guide. Instead, the guards unzipped their pants and urinated over them. She must have thought that was the end, reflected the billionaire softly. Probably, replied the guide. Instead, the guards unzipped their pants and urinated over him. The spellbinder, the billionaire, and the Iron and the artist all looked down. We all have our own Robin Island that can keep us imprisoned, I guess, the billionaire said. The billionaire mused. As we go through life, we endure our own trials and injustices. Nothing as severe as what went on here. Of course, I read that Nelson Mandela said his greatest regret was not being allowed out of his prison to attend the funeral of his eldest son after he was killed in a car accident, expressed the billionaire. He looked up to the sky. He looked up to the sky. I guess we all have our regrets, and no one gets out without their own ordeals and tragedies. The tour guide pointed to the fourth window to the right of the entrance into the courtyard. There, he stated that that's Nelson Mandela's cells. Let's go in. The cell was incredibly small, no bed, a small table that the prisoner would kneel at to write in his journal, as there were no chair, a concrete floor, and a brown woolen blanket, and a green and a red flecks in it. For the first year of his imprisonment, Nelson Mandela wasn't even permitted to wear long pants, though it was in over the South African winter. Only he was given only a thin skin shirt, filmy shorts. When he showered, the guard stood and watched his this elderly man standing naked, an attempt to humiliate and break him. When it was time to when it was time to eat, he was given food unfit for an animal. When letters would arrive from his wife and children, often they wouldn't be delivered, or if they were, they would be significantly censored. All this was carefully done to crush Mr. Mandela's spirit, the guide explained. It seems to me all that he endured in this shoebox of a jail cell on this desolate land encircled by a raging ocean developed him, strengthened him, and opened him. The prison became the crucible. The mistreatment became his salvation, leading him into his natural power, highest humanity, and fullest state of unstained heroism. In a world of such selfishness, apathy, and people disconnected from what it meant to be human, he used what he was presented with to grow into an advanced soul on the planet. A man who would show the rest of us what leadership, fortitude, and love look like. And in so doing, he became one of our greatest emblems of forgiveness and finest symbols of peace, the spellbinder offered. Yes, indeed, replied the tour guide. When Mr. Mandela was ultimately released from Robben Island, he was transferred in what is now called Darkenston Correctional Center between Par and Franschhoek. His ascension to the presidency of South Africa was inevitable, so he was being prepared to assume the position and to lead a free yet enormously divided nation. During that final period of his incarnation, he was given the warden's home, and on the day of his release, he walked out of the residence over to a long paved road with a guard post and a white gate at the end of it. Nelson Mandela was asked by prisoner personals if he'd prefer to be driven down the road to freedom. He refused and indicated simply that he would rather walk. And so the transformational leader and history maker who has left a legacy that will inspire many generations took halting steps toward his long awaited liberation. The tour guide took a long, weary breath. Then he carried on. Mr. Mandela was given country on the cusp of a civil war, yet somehow he managed to become a unifier instead of a destroyer. I still remember the words of from the famous speech he gave during one of his trials. During During my lifetime, I have dedicated myself to the struggle of the African people. I have fought against the white domination and I have fought against the black domination. I have cherished the ideal. I have cherished the ideal of a democratic and a free society in which all persons will live together in harmony and with equal opportunities. It is an ideal for which I hope to live for and to see realized to see realized, but if it needs to be, it is an ideal for which I am prepared to die. Okay, Nelson Mandela had great thoughts, like yes, he's inspiring and I look much skinnier and I hate it. Ah, Mr. Relay. Mr. Relay cleared his throat. He kept looking at the cement floor of the tiny cell. Mr. Mandela was a true hero, confirmed the guide. After his release, he was invited to the prosecutor, who demanded the death penalty for him to dinner. Can you believe that? And he asked one of the jailers who watched over him on Robert Island to attend his inauguration as the president of South Africa. Really? The entrepreneur asked quietly. Yes, that's a fact, responded the tour guide. He was a real leader and a man of genuine forgiveness. The spellbinder raised a finger to signal he wished to share another point. Nelson Mandela's road. As I walked out the door toward the gate that would lead to my freedom, I knew if I didn't leave my bitterness and hatred behind, I'd still be in prison. Oh boy, that's so tasty, bhai. We need to read it again. Nelson Mandela wrote, as I walked out of the road toward the gate that would lead to freedom, I knew if I didn't leave my bitterness and hatred behind, I'd still be in prison. He also said that to be free is not merely to cast off one's sins, but to live in a way that respects and enhances the freedom of others. The guide added, and that no one is born hating another person because of the color of his skin or his background or his religion. People must learn to hate. People must learn to hate, and if they can learn to hate, they can be taught to love. For love comes more naturally than the human heart than its opposite. Decent bicep today, right? Acha was bicep mara and we have this shirt on. You know what kind of chest I want? Can I show you that? Hello? हाँ. नहीं, रीडिंग टाइम रिकॉर्डिंग वर एकदा हॅलो बोल युट्यूबला. नाही माहित नाही, आवाज कमी केलेला आहे तिने, लेट झोपल म्हटले. हा, जर तिने बंद नाही केला तर मग इकडे झोपून जाईल. हा. Decent forums, by decent forums. We just need more of muscle mass, guys. And I should stop flexing in. Indeed. He also said that to free is not really conscience, freedom of others, healing, religion. I read I read he often get up at around 5 a.m. Okay, so Nansen Mandela भी 5 बजे उठते थे and run on the spot for 45 minutes, then perform 200 sit-ups and then do 100 finger push-ups, fingertip push-ups, and that's the reason why I'm always doing my push-ups. The billionaire contributed somewhat accordingly. Okay, so the billionaire is inspired by Nansen Mandela. Great guys. I'm also inspired. Let's yeah, diagram the sandwiches of the world changes. What is this partial cut? What is this partial cut on my bicep? Are these my bicep and what is this the thing below? Do I have like chotu wala bicep? What is this? What is this? Said the tour guide before continuing. Mr. Mandela came into this cell as a hot-headed, angry, hostile, and a militant young man. It was who he grew into here in the prison that made him the icon we all now revere. As a archbishop, Desmond Tutu taught us suffering can either embitter us or ennoble us. Thankfully, Madiba, which was his clean name, flows to the latter. What? What? This. All the best men and women of the world have one thing in common, said the spellbinder. Extreme suffering and extreme suffering, and each of them evolved into their greatness because they choose to leverage their circumstances to heal, purify, and uplift themselves. The spellbinder then pulled out a learning model from his jacket, the final one that two students would see. It was called the Heroic Human Circle. Here's what it looked like: the Heroic Human Circle. Bravery, forgiveness, integrity, understanding, sincerity, politeness, humility. Stay humble. So this would be my ending line for mostly my, if I start to create reels or short, like where I'm giving info about something. I'm inspired by Steve Jobs. Like Con inspired me. He says, "Stay hungry, stay foolish." I will say, "Stay, stay, stay." सौर मंडल, stay hungry, stay foolish के अलावा अपन बोल सकते हैं stay hungry, stay humble. Okay, yes, we can say stay hungry, stay humble. Okay, this angle looked a little better. Hmm. आराम से भाई 6-7 महीने में वी विल ट्राई टू ग्रो. बस कॉलेज में अपना ये सा अभी जो कंसिस्टेंसी वगैरह चली वो बंद नहीं होनी चाहिए. एंड वी डिड अ लॉट ऑफ टाइम पास वगैरह वी नीड टू कंटिन्यू. वापस एक बार पढ़ेंगे. Bravery, forgiveness, integrity, understanding, sincerity, politeness, and humility. The seven virtues of the world changers. These are the virtues each of us must aspire to become world changers and heroes of the heroes for the benefit of the better society. Said the said the spellbinder. His voice filled this morning with hints both melancholy and immense strength. Leadership is for everyone, each of us, no matter where we live, what we do, what's happened to us in the past, and what we are experiencing right now. Must release the shackles of blame, chains of hate, legs, irons of apathy, and prison bars of ordinary that keep us in slavery to the dark forces of our lowest nature. Every one of us must rise each morning, yes, at 5 a.m., and do everything we can possibly do to unfold our genius, develop our talents, deepen our character, and escalate our spirit. Each of us must do this across our world. The spellbinders began to cry as he went on. The spellbinder began to cry as he went on. We all must break free from our private jails that incarcerate our glory and keep us nobility in bondage. Please remember that gifts and talents neglected become curses and sorrows. The spellbinder paused. It's your time, he stated, looking directly into the eyes of the entrepreneur and the artist. The heroic human circle framework had been placed on the small table in the chamber that sat under the window with bars. The spellbinder dragged it into the center of the space so it became the focus in the prison cell. On that very special day, the spellbinder then asked the billionaire, the entrepreneur, and the artist, the tour guide, to crowd around the diagram. They held one another's hand. Yes, no matter what struggles we face and what advertisements we will endure, no matter what attacks, humiliation, and violence are visited on us, we must persist, we must continue, we must stay strong, we must live our luminous nature and magnify our so much else. Even if it feels the whole world is against us, this is truly what makes us human beings. Even it seems the light will never transcend darkness, keep making your walk to freedom. Model what's highest for the rest of us. Exemplify grace for the majority of us. Demonstrate actual love for all of us. Now, in this moment, said the spellbinder, raising a hand and placing it on the arm of the artist, he gently rested the other one on the shoulder of the entrepreneur. A quite stretched smile across his face, he looked poised and serene. Time for what? Wondered the artist. To start your pilgrimage? Was the simple reply. To where? Asked the entrepreneur, looking a little confused. To a territory called legacy, indicated the spellbinder. A lot of people are tourists at this place for fleeting minutes. For fleeting minutes of their precious morning, they think about the body of work they have built and what it is they'll leave behind once they die. For brief intervals before they get distracted, they reflect on the quality of their productivity and the degree of the decency and the depth of their impact. For many short stints before the bustle of being busy consumes them again. They pause to contemplate how beautifully they have lived and how helpful they were. There are many visitors to this realm. Mr. Relay lifted his arms as he listened to the his Mr. Relay lifted his arms as he listened to his mentor's word. I love my life. I will become an even better person. I will make an even greater contribution. I will upgrade into much more inspiration being. He whispered mostly to himself. The distinguished heroes of mankind resumed to spellbinders were citizens and lifetime inhabitants of this territory of legacy. It was their homeland, and this was what ultimately made them legendary. The mighty mission they constructed their lives around was to exist for a cause that was larger than themselves. So when they died, they left our world brighter than they found it. Okay, that sounds so much inspiring. We all come with an expiration date at the billionaire. None of us know how long we get to live. True, agreed the entrepreneur. What? What? Only 3 pages to go? अपन ने ऑलमोस्ट 10 पेजेस आधे घंटे में पढ़ लिए मतलब 3 minutes to read a page. Today, the spellbinder declared, and this very moment deserves a demand of your commitment to become subliminal, creative, pristinely productive, decadently decent, and of service to many. Please stop postponing your mastery. No longer resist your primal power. Refrain from allowing the shadow forces of fear, rejection, doubt, and disappointment to dim the light of your most luminous self. This is your time, and now is your day to make your leap and your original way into the rare air of the finest leaders who have ever lived, and to enter the universe of the true masters, eminent virtues, and authentic heroes who have been responsible for all the progress of civilization. All five were huddled in the circle. Mr. Relay began to yodel a little before the spellbinder's strong stare helped him to tone it down. They smiled at one another, a clear gesture of mutual respect. To lead is to inspire others by the way that you live. To lead is to walk through the fires of your hardest times to set up into forgiveness. To lead is to remove any form of mediocrity from infiltrating the quarters of your life in a dazzling celebration of the majesty. That is your birthright. To lead is to turn your terrors into triumphs and translate each one of your heartbreaks into heroism. And more than all else, to lead is to be a force for good on this tiny planet of ours. Today, you get to accept this grand call to raise the understand standard by which you live out of the remainder of your life, or at least starting tomorrow. The billionaire suggested with a mischievous grin. Starting at 5 a.m., they all said together. Own your morning, reflect, elevate your life. Starting at 5 a.m., they said all together. Own your morning, elevate your life. So, almost यहाँ पे बुक खत्म हो चुकी है. Now only thing that remains is this epilogue, and it's just around 1.5 पेज का है. तो अपनी एपिलॉग भी रीड कर लेंगे. लेट्स गो. थोड़ा सा जूम करने में है क्या कोई दिक्कत? आई डोंट थिंक सो. 5 years later, 5 साल बाद, what happened to the artist and the entrepreneur? They married. I know that, but बाद में देखते हैं. 5 साल बाद, a few months after His time on Robben Island, Stone Relay, passed away. मर गया. I said, I definitely said कि ये स्टोन बंदा मरने वाला है. He shown the signs and उन्होंने बाद में एंडिंग में कुछ अच्छी स्टोरी नहीं बताई कि स्टोन रियल मरने का तुमने क्या किया. What they did. He died peacefully in his sleep in a small apartment in the Tauric center of Rome. His loving daughter was at his side as was the spellbinder. Spellbinder उसके साथ क्यों सोया था? Maybe he is talking when he died. Not satisfactory has अपने को और अच्छे बाल होना. No. On the day of the Titans, that more doves and butterflies took flight over the eternal city than ever before. There was an evil double rainbow that extended all the way from the Spanish Steps to the Colosseum. You would have been impressed if you would have been impressed if you had been there to see it. The billionaire had been suffering from a rare and incurable disease which had to be told no one about except the spellbinder because he was his best friend. You will be happy to know that during his last days, the eccentric tycoon completely liquidated the various ventures of his vast businesses empire and gave the entire amount to charity. Mr. Relay did decide to leave his oceanside compound in Mauritius to the entrepreneur and the artist, as he knew how much they loved being there. Allow me to share what happened to the entrepreneur and the artist since the time of that most surreal adventure that had with the billionaire. I know you are probably wondering. The entrepreneur has become a fabulously wealthy one, having grown the company she founded into iconic enterprise. She has let go the demons of her past that haunted her so for so long and absolutely loves the life she shares with her husband. The artist, she still works hard, but she also enjoys her time off a lot. She just completed her fourth marathon, has taken a great liking to gardening and volunteering at shelters for homeless people every Tuesday night. She no longer cares much about fame, fortune, and worldly power, even though she now has all these things. The artist, you'll be fascinated to learn he has become one of the most celebrated painters in his field. He completely beat the procrastination issues, is widely considered a master of his craft, and is an extraordinary husband. He ran two marathons with his wife and has now become a vegan. He goes to yodeling classes on yodeling. Okay, that is la la la. That is called yodeling. Yodeling. He goes to yodeling classes on Wednesday nights. And get this, the couple has wonderfully handsome and ever so intelligent little boy. They named him Stone. इतना तो नहीं करते यार, अपने भारत देश में नहीं करते. अगर हमारा कोई गुरु मर जाता है तो हम अपने बच्चे का नाम उस गुरु के हिसाब से तो नहीं रखते, राइट? बट इन्होंने स्टोन रख दिया. डोंट नो, मे बी they just wanted to give him respect. The entrepreneur and the artist are still members of the 5am club, running the 2020 formula for every morning well before daybreak. They still practice most of the discipline Mr. Relay taught them, and they have kept the promise that they made to their mentor to tell as many people as possible for the transformational value of rising early. As for the spellbinder, he is still alive. बुड्ढा अभी भी जिंदा है. We should not shame Buddha, we must give him respect. The spellbinder is alive, yes. In many ways, he is going stronger than ever. He is based out of Tokyo, but still spent most of his life stages in stadium across the planet, on airplanes and in hotel rooms. He still loves fishing. Yes, sir. Okay, okay. Here's some special thing. I think so. ओके यहाँ पे बोल रहे हैं द मॉन्क सोल्ड इज फरारी. ये मेरे दोस्त ने पढ़ी, ओम ने, ओम पवार. द मॉन्क सोल्ड इज फरारी एक आध बार मैं भी पढ़ूंगा इफ आई गेट अ लिटिल इंस्पायर्ड बाय इट. देखते हैं. 3900 ओम पवार, इसका नाम लिख लेते. बाद में उसको मैं लिंक सेंड कर दूंगा. भाई आप क्लिक कर, तेरा नाम आ जाएगा. ही वुड गेट हैप्पी. ये मेरा नाम ले लिया. शाउट आउट अबाउट द ऑथर, ये भी अपन ने पढ़ लिया. एंड अबाउट द जैको पब्लिशिंग हाउस अपन एक बार पढ़ लेंगे. ये ग्रे पेज क्या कहना चाहता है. वी हैव ऑलमोस्ट फिनिश द बुक फिनिश करने के बाद अपन थोड़ी सी बातचीत कर लेंगे अबाउट थोड़ी व्हाट्स नेक्स्ट ऑन योर heroic adventure. The end of this book is the beginning of your journey into the 5am club. to help you lock in the early rising habit as a lifetime practice, as well as install the 2020 formula as your morning routine so you experience the world class result. Robin Sharma has created the following tools for you and been available absolutely free. The 5 a.m. Habit Installer, a remarkable app that will help you track your daily progress over the next 66 days so waking up before daybreak becomes automatic. You'll also receive full access to the worksheet integrating the frameworks you have now learned, music playlist to fuel your confidence, and an amazing support platform so you can connect with other 5 club members. Wow! 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 मैं अभी फ़ोन लेने वाला हूँ तो आई वुड एब्सोल्युटली इंस्टॉल द 5 हैबिट इंस्टॉलर इफ आई गेट लाइक मेरे ही शहर में छत्रपति संभाजी नगर में इफ आई गेट टू नो अबाउट द 5 क्लब मेंबर्स दैट वुड बी सो मच ऑसम भाई. The 5 Club Challenge. You will receive 2 months of content rich and enormously practical coaching videos, mentoring, encouragement, and fast shots of inspiration from Robin Sharma. So you stay with your commitment and maximize your victories as someone who rises early. I just hope ये मेरे को एकदम वाव फीचर लगा था 5 हैबिट इंस्टॉलर और द क्लब चैलेंज का. बस ये पेड ना होना चाहिए. अगर ये पेड होगा तो मैं आई विल ट्राई टू पायरेट इट. No, I won't try to pirate. Pirating piracy is a very bad thing. We should never do it. But देखते हैं अभी. I hope it's free. The 5 Club Morning Mastery Meditations to help you start your day feeling calm, focused and positive. Robin Sharma has carefully created and meticulously calibrated a series of guided meditations for you to run through each morning so you optimize your mindset, purify your heart set, fortify your health set, and escalate your soul set. The secret lost chapter. In a blaze of creativity, fine early one morning, the author wrote an alternative and most unexpected final chapter to this book. It's intriguing, enchanting, and intensely dramatic. To get your full access to all these beautiful and valuable resources being made available to at zero cost. Yes, go to robinsharma.com/the fan club. It has been declared that this thing is for absolutely free, and I'm so happy about it. Hope yeah. Yes, so now let's talk about this. The book we all have been reading, the book we all read right now. Okay, okay. तो मैंने गलती से माइक बंद कर दिया. I'm so sorry. मे बी आई कुड क्रॉप दिस पार्ट आउट यूट्यूब से, पर इतना फर्क तो नहीं पड़ेगा. नोबडी केयर्स. कौन इतना देख रहा है 40 मिनट? हु हैज दिस अटेंशन स्पैन इस ईरा में? ब्रो मेरा जॉब बहुत फ्री है एंड व्हेन आई डू लाइक दिस आई वांट माय शोल्डर्स टू पॉप आउट. अभी के लिए तो नहीं है बट लेट्स सी इन द फ्यूचर इफ दे पॉप आउट. एंड व्हाट आई वाज सेइंग अबाउट दिस बुक वाज, अरे यार मतलब मैंने जो भी बोला इसके अंदर रिकॉर्ड नहीं होगा. आई विल हैव टू से इट अगेन. दिस बुक इज रियली awesome. like like the fact that you are aware of the things in this book, like you get like slighter advantage, like you feel like you have a slighter advantage of living, like you know the facts that the people don't know, right? Like you feel like you're a bit ahead of them. मतलब मैं इतना सेल्फ अब इतना अच्छे से पढ़ता नहीं, पर मेरी फर्स्ट बुक थी पावर ऑफ सबकॉन्शियस माइंड, और दूसरी तीसरी बुक थी हाउ टू इन्फ्लुएंस एंड इन्फ्लुएंस पीपल, ये वाली। बट इसको अपन और अच्छे से पढ़ेंगे, कुछ कुछ जो स्पेसिफिक चीजें थे। एंड अपनी नेक्स्ट बुक जो होगी वो अपन मोस्टली ट्राई करेंगे कल से पढ़ने का। विल ट्राई टू फिनिश दिस इन मैक्सिमम 4 days एंड मिनिमम 3 days। अपन ये फिनिश कर रख देंगे बुक, और मेरे को थोड़ा सा ऐसे एलिवेटेड टाइप से फील हो रहा है कि यस यू नो अ थिंग मच अगले वाले से। बट आई जस्ट शुडंट बी लाइक यस आई एम सुपीरियर, मेरे को वो वाली चीज नहीं आने देनी है खुद में। एंड आई होप कि मैं अभी तो बहुत बहुत सा बॉक्सी लग रहा है भाई, ये एकदम कॉर्नर से, ये यहाँ पे ये सूट का ये रखा हुआ है, यहाँ से फ्लैशिंग लाइट खरा हुआ है, मैं झुकता हूँ तो मेरे मुंह पे शेडोज आ रहे हैं। एंड यहाँ पे ये ग्रीन बुक का लोगो इतना कुछ इतना जोर से खास नहीं दिख रहा है। एंड दिस इज एवरीथिंग इज ऐसे कॉर्नी कॉर्नी। ये टाइमर का फॉन्ट भी एकदम ऐसा वाव नहीं है। So next time we will try to improve it a lot, and I need to grow my chest enormously. Yes, I need my chest to grow. So I really like this book. I will give it solid 9.67 out of 10. Why not 10 out of 10? Because some chapters मेरे थोड़ा सा इतना 100% दिमाग में नहीं गया. I need to read it again and again. And the things here are like you need to keep practicing it. And I will maybe start or install this habit tracker app right now, so it would help me later in the future. So let's just I said I will talk about 42 minutes, and around 42 minutes let's stop it on 43:00. And there's nothing to think about. And stay hungry, stay humble, guys. And so many filler word, no, maybe I improved. Can I show you something? Maybe I will show it to you later. So just बहुत हो गया इस बुक के बारे में, इस बुक के बारे में बात कर रहे थे। The next book we are going to read is How to Talk to Anyone by Patrick King. So let's read it from tomorrow. शायद मैं कल उसका एक ही चैप्टर पढ़ूंगा, क्योंकि उसका सेकंड चैप्टर थोड़ा सा बड़ा है, मैंने फर्स्ट चैप्टर पढ़ के रखा है। बट स्टिल आई विल कवर दिस होल बुक ऑन वाईटी, एंड व्हाट इफ इट गेट्स सम रीच, इट वुड बी सो कूल। एंड मेरे को ये देखना है ये वाला वीडियो अपलोड करके यूट्यूब पे, क्योंकि मैंने इसके 14-15 पे डाला, उसके अंदर मैं अपना ऑडियो रिकॉर्ड करना भूल गया था। 16th में ऑडियो एकदम डिसेंट से आया था। अभी जो ये 17 चैप्टर है इसके अंदर ऑडियो अच्छे से आया है। एंड आई वांट टू सी इफ इट मेक्स मी फील एनी गुड और बेटर। एंड अभी मेरे को आपको समय दिखाना, you trust me guys, now it's 12:14 a.m. 22nd of July 2025. चलो, सम्यक signing off. Stay hungry, stay humble.